the Home Ministry, who's going to be Finance Minister, who's going to be Defense Minister, are these formidable politicians, particularly Mr. Naidu, who's a shrewd politician with tremendous experience. And also they don't like the Prime Minister to act as the high priest of the nation. I think this is what I picked up. Quite a few of the Orthodox, they didn't like it.
Don't.
And then you go and meditate in Kanyakumari. What's all this? There's the separation of church and state, temple and state. Supremely confident. They were not arrogant. For BJP, it is Madhya Pradesh. And for the India Alliance, it is Tamil Nadu and the DMK. Remember, Nirmala Sitaraman in her interim budget talked big, saying we're going to have a white paper which is produced immediately. It's already ready. But saying for developed India and so on, we're going to come back. It's unfinished. See the real budget and so on. Now let's see who's going to be the finance minister.
Hello, Federal viewers. Welcome to the chat with senior journalist Mr. N. Ram. Hello, sir. Now that the results are out, the NDA, the BJP is trying to form the NDA government. How smooth will the government will be functioning now? They have to accommodate the regional parties. Do you think there will be a lot of space to hear from the regional parties?
Yes, we used to call it political federalism because India doesn't have real federalism, although states have rights, but they have been steadily diluted, encroached upon and diminished. But this moves in that direction back to, because this is a real coalition government. The NDA claimed to be a coalition, but the BJP ran it as though the others didn't matter, more or less, because it had clear, decisive single-party majority, particularly in 2019, where it became more empowered and therefore more, I would say, authoritarian. But now, this government is clearly short of a majority. The BJP is clearly short of a majority. And it's the whole, I think politics has changed, has been transformed. It is, in a sense, a decisive defeat for the BJP. Because particularly because of the expectations they had raised among the flock, 400, they projected this and they've fallen well short, and 240. And also if you look at the vote share, which went up between 2014 and 2019, from something like 32 to 37%, it's now back to 36.5, although they've contested more seats.
Yes.
And the gap between the Congress and the BJP has narrowed. There are three alliances which help the BJP from drowning this time, and this is absolutely losing the election. The first, of course, is Mr. Chandra Babu Naidu's Telugu Desam, the alliance. He was very reluctant, and we just got to see the kind of vicious attacks the BJP had launched against him, including by Ms. Amit Shah. The videos are all out there, accusing him of every conceivable crime or sin and so on, betraying his father-in-law, all kinds of things. Of course, that happens in politics, but it happened to an extreme degree here. So they had to twist his arm to come in, because they were quite comfortable with Jagan Mohan Reddy, but maybe they saw which way the wind was blowing and went for Naidu. He's delivered big. Second is Nitish Kumar, notoriously unchangeable and unreliable politician. Remember that in November 2020, he became chief minister because as part of the NDA, and then midstream he changed. He defected to the other camp, what is now the India Alliance. And then again, the man who initiated the founding of the India bloc, perhaps even gave it his name, then defected. I don't know why. But that's one. And the third alliance which helped them, we don't know to what degree, but definitely increased their vote share and seat share, is the JDS headed by Mr. Devegowda. Despite all the scandals in their family, you know what happened. But they've been able to deliver. So this government is dependent, but 32 short of a single party majority. It's completely dependent on these three allies and perhaps some of the other smaller parties as well, bits and pieces parties. which formed the NDA. So the whole game has changed. And yesterday when I listened to Prime Minister Modi's victory speech, firstly, she looked at the audience, it looked more like a wake than a celebration. Till then, he sort of shouted, Modi, Modi, and so on, but fewer. But he spoke mainly as we, the NDA, rather than I.
Yes.
This is a big change. It symbolizes
He's already preparing.
No, it's already stares you in the face. Look at the headlines in the Guardian and so on. They're only making this point here. New York Times, needing help to stay in power, Modi loses his aura of invincibility, which is true. This is the reality. The Home Ministry, who's going to be Finance Minister, who's going to be Defense Minister, are these formidable politicians, particularly Mr. Naidu, who's a shrewd politician with tremendous experience, and he's done his somersaults, like many other parties and regional parties. So it's going to be a different game.
How far this the aura of Modi, the factor and the brand Modi, has it lost its sheen this time?
No, I wouldn't say that, because I think there was a CSDS poll around 2019, which one of the findings was that roughly 1/3 of the BJP's support in terms of votes comes from the persona of Narendra Modi, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and that I think may have been diminished, but it's not gone away. He's there are others like Nitin Gadkari and perhaps even Yogi, who has been cut to size now because of this. UP. Yeah. Who's the player of the match? There are candidates. I would say Akhilesh Yadav, Chandra Babu Naidu, M.K. Stalin, Chief Minister, Mamata Banerjee. These, or you would even say Rahul Gandhi, is sort of raised the Congress's strength.
So why this round temple factor did not work well?
Because I think people don't like hate politics. A certain number will. It works to a certain extent. But majoritarianism doesn't translate into winning a majority of votes. We've seen that repeatedly, that BJP, which practices it more effectively than anyone else. There are also others, some extremist parties, including Muslim extremist parties and so on. But it's never reached 40%.
Yeah.
Whereas the Congress, in the first 7 Lok Sabha elections, regularly, customarily exceeded well into the 40s, mid-40s. Okay. Why they didn't buy? I think they didn't like this politicization of it and using it to unleash hate against Muslims in particular. All kinds of insinuations and direct attacks, violating the code of conduct, model code of conduct. And even the law, I think, the Election Commission shut a blind eye to it, turned a blind eye to it, and it was quite shameful that this was allowed. And they could get away, they had a sort of impunity for this kind of hate politics. I think people recoiled from it. And also they don't like the Prime Minister to act as the high priest of the nation. I think this is what I really picked up. Quite a few of the Orthodox, they didn't like it.
Don't.
And then you go and meditate in Kanyakumari. What's all this? There's a separation of church and state, temple and state.
They want the person to run the country.
Yeah, and solve the problem of unemployment, high prices, rural distress. By the way, I haven't got the final figures yet, but it is clear now that the BJP and those who are close to them, the parties, fared very badly, BJP in particular, in rural areas compared with urban areas. And this is very bad news.
There are talks with the India bloc, the leaders are meeting, and there are some predictions that they are trying to form a government, all that. Will that work? Will it be a reliable one? Even if
in my opinion, it's not a good idea. Of course, they will, it's understandable, they will cast doubts on the stability of this and whether all of them really support them, etc. But they are not going to seriously try to form, I think, an alternative, their own in India-led government, because it will collapse.
So what went wrong with Aam Aadmi Party? It could not get any seats in Delhi despite Kejriwal going to the jail, but it worked a bit in Punjab.
It worked brilliantly in Punjab in the assembly election. But I think they've been going the wrong way. I mean, even though widespread perception is that there's vendetta politics, which got so close to the election, you got Arvind Kejriwal in prison. I mean, they've taken a wrong direction, I think, the Aam Aadmi Party, even though they allied with the Congress in Delhi. It was a sort of high-handed style of rule. I don't know about whether they did anything really wrong in terms of integrity, but the style has not worked, and they've not got rid of corruption.
Mm-hmm.
It started an anti-corruption movement, but this high-handed style. But in Punjab, they have been able to, as you say, retain something, and you can't write them off. Because it was a promising part, it was a promising start when they started.
I'm bringing you from Delhi to down south to Tamil Nadu. DMK did very well, swept, but I'm wondering what worked for BJP to get into the runner-up places in many constituencies. Did it eat the votes of ADMK? BJP leader Annamalai said they will actually take the vote bank of ADMK, and there will be no party after 2024 elections. There will be no party called ADMK.
I think some of the pollsters, they predicted a huge increase. Some of them said 20%. It's nothing like that for BJP. They put a lot of effort. Their top leaders came in. They spent a lot of money. Yeah, I mean, you can't write them off. But
are they gaining?
On the whole, I don't think very much.
Nadu.
It's happened before in Kerala and so on. In fact, they won a seat in Kerala this time, in Thrissur. But Tamil Nadu was a clean sweep. And I think I noticed that the Chief Minister, and because I was in touch, and other prominent leaders of the DMK were supremely confident. They were not arrogant. They ran quite a right through, consistently. I don't think they were anxious at all. At least they didn't show it. It was a brilliantly strategized and run campaign, I think. And the Chief Minister, the style was good. He delivered his message everywhere, and it's various others worked very hard. So in fact, for BJP, it is Madhya Pradesh, and for the India Alliance, it is Tamil Nadu and the DMK. Also, the DMK was generous in accommodating its allies.
Yeah.
The real point here is India is diverse, it's pluralistic. You can't have, one party, one country, or one one election for the whole of India at one point. Because obviously, in a parliamentary system, if somebody collapses midstream, what do you do for the remainder of the elected term? So all this, it's authoritarian. It seeks to impose, in the name of unity, imposes this uniformity, and doesn't allow for the plurality and diversity of India. And sooner or later, this will assert itself, which is what it's done in this election.
Yeah. Now with this alliance government forming, I think BJP has to rethink on this one nation, one election formulas, and even with...
Nobody's going... They've just won an election in Andhra Pradesh. Big win. Sweep. Are they going to dissolve, and what will they do in 2 years? So whatever it takes, so that's out.
They will not even consider this delimitation, all that, right? No.
That, we have to think about it. How much is, and then what will be the stake for Andhra Pradesh and for JDS and so on. So we'll have to see. Narendra Modi factor worked against the BJP here overall. Maybe in Coimbatore they can have a big rally. They spend money, and maybe some people will support them. And Annamalai worked hard. But it is a hubristic performance.
Okay.
This in many places by the BJP. And that's, I think, remember Nirmala Sitharaman in her interim budget talked big, saying we're going to have a white paper which they produced immediately. It was already ready. But saying for developed India and so on, we're going to come back. It's unfinished. See the real budget and so on. Now let's see who's going to be the finance minister.
Yes. So right from the beginning.
She said she didn't have enough money to do this.
Yes. So
Good decision.
So right from the beginning, even in the many ad campaigns, BJP was projecting that that India bloc has no great leader. They cannot even name a PM candidate. Kind of, that kind of ad campaigns were there. If India bloc had come up with that kind of the PM candidate, or they could have shown up some personality.
Rahul
will that worked out for them?
Yes, I think everybody would have accepted Rahul Gandhi. Yeah. And Mr. Karge said it. He's openly Congress president. So, and Mr. Stalin has been on record and others. I don't think anyone would have had problems with that. Because there's nobody else. Whether he would have accepted it, I don't know. Because this man in the past has been shown up to be a reluctant politician. The opposite of an ambitious politician. I think at least the style suggests that. Why did he resign after one defeat? He resigned as president of the Congress because he is something different about Rahul Gandhi, I think, which people admire. Some ridicule him for this, and I think he's made many mistakes. But there's something special about Rahul Gandhi that I think will produce results next time.
Often he is seen, accepting his mistakes, taking back what he said, and
I mean, who would have walked like? Yeah, that's true. I think he's often shown humility. He's got a team. He's got problems with the pay his party has conducted itself in recent decades, perhaps. So some differences even with the former president, his mother, on this. All this is more or less well known. But who would have walked that kind of distance? So no national politician has done it. In maybe Mahatma Gandhi. In states they've done it. Rajasekhar Rao and even Jagan and so on. The DMK has worked very hard. Some of the earlier others may have done it, but on this scale. And I read Veena Kandaswamy's article that we couldn't keep pace with him. Came in the Wire. She walked for some of the bit, and and everybody said that they couldn't keep up with him. Man's stamina is learning from this walk, meeting people. I don't think it was just for publicity.
Actually, when I spoke to
these are special qualities which go against this Pappu business.
When I spoke to Sashikant Senthil, I asked him, don't you think Congress has to modernize itself? BJP has a lot of social media influencers meeting, all that. He said this when he was campaigning. Congress is known for its walking. That is what will help Congress to get votes. I think now it has.
I think it is. Congress has raised its vote share as well as 21 point something, I think, and seats 99, run out 99.